working 2 jobs. She doesn't have the same 24 hours in a day. So she can't come, you know, and work out with me 3-4 days a week and get to it. So maybe it's 1 day a week and I write her up a program. Maybe it's just something as simple as taking 10-minute walks after she eats. It helps with digestion, helps with the insulin response, helps with nutrient absorption. Just simplifying it for each individual and then building your way up. Sometimes we need to regress to progress. So I like deconstructing, you know, a person as long as like an omelet, you know, 5 eggs there, right? Same thing. It's still eggs. So I'm still going to eat it. It's delicious, but it's, you know, simplify it.
So you're saying there's no magic bullet for everyone?
Of course not. No magic bullet. I mean, think about things and think about what you're not doing that you need to add the most. And most people need to get more rest and recovery and sleep first, eating better, and then coming from the trainer, need to exercise thirdly. Like, the sleep and the eating is the most important thing, and then we need to start moving more, whether that's walking more, lifting weights, anything. Everybody thinks that they need to do all this at once, and it just becomes overwhelming.
Sure, you disagree. There has to be a magic bullet somewhere. There has to be some magic thing out the skies that come down and makes everyone fit, right?
No, I mean, you know, we've seen, as any kind of doctor should, I mean, what I do is like anything that becomes like a fad, I want to see the research. And so that's like looking at actual evidence-based medicine. Like, was there a good randomized control trial done where you had 2 groups of people who are very similar, you give one of them this potential magic bullet treatment and then you give the other one placebo, and you actually measure if there's a difference. That is what I want to see. So for example, like with apple cider vinegar, for example, everybody thought that was going to be a magic weight loss pill, and there were 2 studies that were done. And basically after 12 weeks, those that had 2 tablespoons a day, there was only a 2 to 4 pound weight loss. So compared that to any other diet or exercise regimen, that's weak. Who's going to do something for 12 weeks and just get 2 to 4 pounds of weight loss? But anecdotally, people will say, including my patients, hey, I've done apple cider vinegar, I lost a lot of weight. But there's a lot of confounders in that. Like, were they also exercising? What other kind of diets were they doing? So there's correlation, which that would be the patient, the anecdotal story, and then there's causation. That's an actual research study that shows that there's a benefit to whatever intervention you're doing.
I'll be honest with you, personally speaking, not advocating. I've done things like keto for a bit. I've done paleo for a bit. I've done culture-specific diets, Vietnamese specifically. Like, what makes one diet become more popular than the other? I feel like these things have been around for years, if not centuries. Why was it in the 90s it was all Atkins, for example, or high fat? What changed? What made that happen?
Yeah,
social media.
Yeah, so social media, cyclical media in general. Maybe some celebrity picks it up.
Yep, true.
I guarantee in the next year or 2, I just had a meeting with my publisher. They're looking for a high carb book. So they're looking for these things because people are sick of, you know, paleo or keto or whatever thing, because it's just been too much. So like carbohydrates, they're great. They're very good for you. Like you can survive on them and still have abs, right? But that's the thing. It's just media and exposure, and then things are cyclical, just like, you know, spandex.
What an image. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be right back after this with some of your questions. Welcome back to Ask the Doc, where we encourage you to send your questions. You can do so by emailing us at info@fittvnetwork.com. But right now, we have Carlos on the line from Phoenix. Carlos, how is it in the Valley of the Sun, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Do you have a question for our guest today?
Yeah, I've been getting back into training, trying to work out, and I know one of the things they're supposed to do is to make sure you have a good intake of water. So right now I've been like drinking much water as much as I can, or I drink a bottle of water in the morning when I first get up too. But I tend to feel nauseated and nauseous when I drink it. So I think I've been through that process before. So I was just wondering, is that normal? Is that something to go through until maybe your body gets used to it again?
Yeah. Are you eating food when you're drinking water?
No.
Okay, so I mean, water's great, right? We need water, but I think sometimes people try to chug it too much because they think they're supposed to get a certain amount of water a day. And yes, we should be getting water. The reason why I asked the food question is sometimes when you're eating food and you're drinking water, that can mess with your digestive process. But
Oh,
if you're trying to have too much water that you're used to, I would say kind of cut it back and slow it down a little bit and drink it throughout the day. Otherwise, there might be some sort of GI issue happening there. But you let Doc take this too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I think, we're trained to think right in the morning you have to start drinking water. And I think you have to, like you said, progress slowly through the day. If you can buy yourself like almost like a large container for your water that lists out how much you're supposed to drink and tells you by which time you're supposed to hit this level and this level, it'll help you space it out better throughout the day. Chugging water like that can definitely make you nauseous if you're trying to drink too much of it, especially in the morning when your body is trying to wake up. So, I mean, you're definitely on the right track. I mean, I give you a lot of credit, like jumping back into the fitness and the weight loss and everything you're trying to do and drinking more water. Like, I love to hear these stories from people that are getting back into it again. Just take it easy on yourself, okay? Like, it's a process. It's not gonna happen overnight, but I think if you can space it out a little bit during the day a little bit better, you'll notice a difference.
thank you.
Carlos, do you have a second question?
Yeah, I also have what's called plantar fasciitis. I have it's my feet are super flat, and it can be very painful and affect me in everything that I do, including working out. But I notice the more weight that I lose, the better it gets. And I've been going through physical therapy, and the physical therapist, they put bandages on, I guess, to like help strain and align my ankle and my feet. So I was just wondering, should I go back to my doctor to see if they can make me like a custom made insole? Because some nurses and doctors that I work with at the hospital have kind of recommended me that.
Oh yeah, so I mean, it depends. I think that custom insoles, if there's some sort of structural thing happening, can be very good. I think sometimes people rely on these as a crutch. I can't make a diagnosis without looking at what's happening with you, because you could have a limited ankle dorsiflexion, which means if this is your ankle going up and down, right? It could be that. It could be a lumbopelvic hip complex dysfunction that's making things worse. But you said when you start losing weight, you start feeling better, so you probably have less pressure on that. And as far as the exercise component is concerned, doing things that's less impact. If you've got a flat foot, you're not able to absorb the cushion. So bilateral movements, squats, or things like that, or machines are amazing because they've got that distinct range of motion for you. But I would definitely talk with your physical therapist if you have one and you have access, you're at a hospital, to somebody that can literally look at you structurally and diagnose that, because it's hard to tell over Zoom, but that's my best guess for something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great that you have a physical therapist, but the specialist you want to seek out is a podiatrist. They're experts on feet, okay? Like those are the guys and the gals that'll really be able to help you out, number one. Number two, like if you're noticing that you have more pain after certain workouts, especially if they're weight bearing, especially if you're absorbing too much shock. I mean, what are you doing as far as recovery at night to make sure that you get good enough sleep and to make sure that you're giving your body a rest? And so one thing I would recommend is get some Epsom salt. You can get it at any pharmacy, a store, get a big bag of Epsom salt, 2 scoops of Epsom salt in like warmish hot water for 20 minutes. And then finish with a cold shower before you get into bed. That'll relax a lot of the muscles in your lower leg, around your foot and your ankle, because the magnesium in Epsom salt really gets into the muscles. And so I think if you can sort of relax that whole area, that'll take the pressure off your plantar fasciitis too. So something to consider.
Yeah, you can also take a golf ball or something on the bottom of your foot. Is your calcaneus, your heel, right? Like that gets very tight, and that fascia on the bottom lining of your foot can get tight. So a golf ball, and then stretch out your calf, which basically ends up being your fascia on the bottom of your foot, on a step, on a stool, something like that. That could help that out. So all of these things can really help with that. But Doc's right. Like, recovery is huge, and it depends. Like if you're hurting immediately when you're working out, then obviously you should definitely see a podiatrist or somebody that specializes in a podiatrist that specializes with athletes as well. Like high impact. Like not all doctors are created equal, not all podiatrists are created equal, not all trainers are created equal. This one's good. But look, for a self plug there. But yeah, just start like writing down like when you're in pain, so sleeping at night. The magnesium can help with sleep. All sorts of different things.
All right. Thank you. I'll definitely look into that.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Best of health to you.